Every month, Fae releases more powerful units, but who are the top 10 must-have heroes in Fire Emblem Heroes? In this video, I'll be going over the 10 heroes who I believe can increase the overall power of your account, open up new strategies, or empower old ones, even if you only have a single copy of them. Now before I jump in, I want to do a small disclaimer. If you do not play some game modes competitively, or do not use specific strategies these units empower, then I would not recommend summoning for them. Now let's jump in with number 10. Number 10 is going to be Milla, a powerful support mythic for Light Season. Milla is one of the 3 heroes who can offer the Isolation debuff, which can turn off assist skills on enemies who are affected by it. Notably, this can turn off dancers and rally traps, which are common in Ether hits. While Isolation is Milla's main claim to fame, she can offer a stat boost through her weapon, and she has high enough defense and resistance to soak the Dark Shrine off your tanks. Milla is exceptional with tanking or hit and run strategies, as turning off a dancer can be the difference between victory or defeat. While Milla is amazing in Light Season, I would argue her actual best season is Chaos Season, where the enemy defense team is limited to only one dancer. At number 9, we have the Shadow Dragon himself, Medius. Medius is a powerful dark mythic who not only introduced the meta skill Canto Control, but also at the time of recording of this video, the only hero with the On Guard effect. On Guard neutralizes damage from outside of combat except for AoE specials. The reason this effect is so powerful is due to its use on Ether Raid's defense. It can cancel out the damage from things like Bolt Traps, Bolt Tower, or even from skills like Savage Blow, which are common tools opponents can use to take out defense teams, especially defense teams that have low threat ranges. Currently, the most common meta defense in Dark Season is the Catcher Ball, which typically does have a low threat range and tends to rely on powerful save tanks to protect the team. Medius fits on this team perfectly, removing one of its major weaknesses while also being a powerhouse hero himself. Number 8 is the God of Gale Force, Thor. Thor is an exceptionally powerful unit who is not only one of the best Gale Forcers in the entire game, but also offers one of the most ridiculous support effects in the game with World Breaker. World Breaker not only allows Thor to accelerate her own specials, but all allies within 2 spaces. This is massive, as it essentially gives your entire Gale Force team an extra skill slot, as they won't need to run Heavy Blade or Flashing Blade. It also removes the stat checks that are associated with those skills, meaning it's never been easier to proc Gale Force. If that wasn't enough, Thor is also a powerful unit in combat, and can do an excellent job as a Gale Force initiator. But that's not all, she can also work well with tanky teams such as Save Balls, where special acceleration can allow them to run more powerful specials without having to give up their steal slot for skills like Steady or Warding Breath. Thor is amazing in both Astra and Chaos Season, so if you're a Gale Force player, Thor is a must-have. But if you only want to use her as a support on tanking teams, there are some alternatives to think about, like Brave Lucina, the Breath skills, and one more unit on this list. Number 7 is going to be our favorite shut-in, Winter Bernie. Winter Bernadetta has proven to be one of the most powerful supports in the entire game, but not due to powerful buffs, debuffs, or passive effects, but due to her ability to manipulate HP thresholds. Winter Bernie's weapon Wrist has this very simple effect. It deals 1 damage to Bernie and all allies within 2 spaces if she is at 100% HP. This self-inflicted damage allows for 2 strategies in particular to become much more consistent and therefore more powerful. Those 2 strategies being Gale Force and Vantage. By allowing your Gale Force initiator to be at 50% HP before combat, one can ensure that the initiator will be in Wings of Mercy range while also allowing them to take advantage of skills like Desperation, so they can kill their opponent before they can even counterattack. On the other hand, Vantage units can easily get into Vantage range without even entering combat, drastically increasing their chances to survive as long as there isn't a Hardy Bearing or Fire Sweep user. The reason Winter Bernie isn't higher on this list is due to Brave Lysithea having a self-damaging effect as well, but I will mention that in my opinion it is much worse, as the damage is dealt only to Lysithea, which makes it much more difficult to use. Number 6 is our first duo unit, Duo Dagger. Duo Dagger is just one of those heroes that is great in almost every game mode. Her weapon, Jotner Bow, and her preference skill, Sun Twin Wing, offers Duo Dagger a ton of power, making her into a great combat unit. But Duo Dagger's real claim to fame is her Pathfinder support. Her weapon itself offers Pathfinder, which allows units to move through her without consuming a space of movement, but her duo skill takes it to a whole new level, granting all allies within 5 rows and 5 columns centered on Dagger, plus 6 to all stats and Pathfinder themselves. The combination of all these effects allow Duo Dagger to be a standout hero in every game mode for one reason or another. In Ether Raid's defense, she can extend the threat range of your team while also being powerful enough to carve through far safe tanks. In Arena, she scores in the 2nd highest bracket, making her a great merge brother. Lastly, she's one of the best units in all of Summoner Duels, as she can drastically increase the range of your team while also offering a ton of firepower. I'm going to cheat a little bit at number 5 by including 2 different heroes, but both of them are Azura. Harmonic Azura and Legendary Azura are 2 of the most powerful dancers in the game, as they both have access to Grey Waves, a preference dance skill. What makes these dancers stand out amongst amazing dancers like Legendary Ninian, Fallen Ninian, and the 2 Peonies is that they are just generally powerful. They can easily buff a unit +6 to all stats, and if that unit is infantry or flying, they also gain 3 of movement, which can completely change how well a unit performs in every single game mode. Now, like I mentioned earlier, I am cheating a bit. I don't think you need both of them, but I would definitely recommend at least having one. Personally, I do think Harmonic Azura is a bit better as she has 3 movement, a harmonic skill, is blessable, and is decent in combat, but that's not to downplay Legendary Azura, who can offer some unique support such as Null Panic from Grey Waves 2, a legendary buff, or even Sudden Panic support in her B slot. No matter which one you choose or what game mode you play, you won't be let down by these 2 heroes. At number 4, we have the unit who destroyed Anima Season and turned Astra Season into a walk in the park, Elamine. Elamine is just over the top powerful support unit who can cripple every enemy team in one way or another. Her unique support effect, False Start, turns off effects that trigger at the start of turn, such as Times Pulse, Infantry Pulse, Chill skills, buff skills, Hardy Fighter, and so many more. Most notably, it can disable Bridal Catcher's triangle attack buff, which nearly killed Catcher Balls in Anima Season. While False Start is definitely Elamine's biggest selling point, she is also just a better flame. Her preference C skill, Holy Ground, offers 30% damage reduction and +4 defense and resistance to all allies within 2 spaces. While Elamine doesn't fit into every strategy, like Gale Force for example, Elamine is easily one of the best mythics in the entire game and is a must-have for Astra and Chaos Season. Number 3 is the Queen of Thick, Duo Thor. Duo Thor is one of those heroes that does so much it just seems unfair. Not only does she have World Breaker, one of the best preference skills in the game, but she can inflict stall on the enemy team, which can completely shut down teams that rely on units with extra movement like Yuri, Legendary Sigurd, or even Brave Cella. She also inflicts a unique debuff known as Exposure, which adds +10 true damage per hit against enemies inflicted with it. This debuff is completely overpowered and can allow your team to carve through powerful tanks. It's especially good with units who have brave weapons. But wait, I'm not done yet. Duo Thor is also a phenomenal combat unit. She has sky high attack, which works great with her weapon, which can pre-charge powerful specials like AoEs. Her duo skill cancels out all bonuses on the enemy team within 5 rows and 5 columns centered on Thor, and even inflicts gravity on foes in cardinal directions. This makes her one of the hardest counters to numerous strategies in Summoner duels. Duo Thor is just amazing in every single game mode. She fits well into Aetherite's offense, defense, and even scores well in Arena. She's one of the most meta-dominant units in Summoner duels, so no matter what game mode you choose to play, Duo Thor will offer a ton of value. At number 2, we have arguably one of the most powerful heroes in the entire game, Duo Chrom. Just like Duo Thor, Duo Chrom is what happens when you combine a powerful combat unit with some of the best support in the game. To Change Fate was already a great assist skill, as it essentially gave Chrom another action, but adding cooldown reduction to it pushed it into a whole new level. Duo Chrom could not only reduce his own special, allowing him quick access to one of the best specials in the game, Deadeye, but also reduce the cooldown of his allies. Now while this may seem like a simple effect, you have to remember most cooldown reduction effects were locked to infantry, like Times Pulse, Infantry Pulse, or it had strict restrictions tied to it like Ostia's Pulse 2 or Pent's Mage only cooldown reduction. This effect works with all movement types. It also gives the player exact control over their specials, which is extremely meta relevant in game modes like Summoner duels. All of this support is on top of a great combat unit who can carve through many of the premier tanks in the game. Duo Chrom fits into every single game mode and strategy. He's a menace in Aetherite's defense, he's great on Aetherite's offense, especially on Gale Force teams where he can position his allies while also making their Gale Force more consistent, and of course he's one of the most meta heroes in Summoner duels. You will not regret picking up a copy of this hero. Now before we reach our number 1 hero, let's go over a quick honorable mention, Legendary Sigurd. This year has been full of powerful sword cavalry heroes like Legendary Nana or Brave Cella, but even so, Legendary Sigurd remains one of the most unique heroes in the game. This is largely due to Holy Knight Aura, which not only grants Legendary Sigurd an extra space of movement, but his team as well when the special is procced. This effect was so broken it almost destroyed the Aetherite's meta. Legendary Sigurd is definitely not the powerhouse he once was, and we are currently not in the movement meta, but even so, having one Legendary Sigurd can open up new strategies for both Aetherite's defense as well as Summoner duels. We have finally reached the number 1 must-have unit in the game, and you've probably already guessed it, but it's gonna be Bridal Catcher. Bridal Catcher offers the most powerful support in the entire game, and it can be used in every single game mode from Aetherite's offense to defense to Summoner duels. Katria's triangle attack grants her allies within 2 spaces a brave effect and a formation buff, which not only gives a ton of power, but mobility as well. The reason I have Battle Katria at number 1 is because I think she's the most important unit to bridge the power gap between free-to-play players and whales. She can give your heroes the power they need to carve through max merge save tanks, and this is relevant everywhere, because far save is still the meta. I know several free-to-play players who have reached ranked 1 in summoner duels and do extremely well in ether raids, and a large portion of that is due to the Battle Katria, alongside their great gameplay. If there is one hero you end up picking up from this list, I couldn't recommend Battle Katria more. That is my top 10 must-have units for Fire Emblem heroes. What do you think of my list? Was there a hero I missed, or one that you think should be placed higher? Make sure to let me know in the comment section down below. Also, I would like to remind you that you don't need all these units, especially if you aren't a competitive player, don't use the strategies these heroes excel in, or don't care about game modes like ether raids or summoner duels. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and if you want my hottest takes, follow me over on Twitter. This has been Oblivion, and I'll catch you all later with more Fire Emblem heroes.